Good to be with you live from Taiwan. I'm Tony DeCopel. The breaking news right now. President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping's meeting now just hours away. The big issues tonight: Iran, trade, AI. And what could be the biggest flashpoint of all, the future of Taiwan, which China is threatening to invade, and where we're broadcasting from tonight, this tiny democratic island in the shadow of a superpower, the microchip capital of the world, powering the things we use every day. What's at stake?
I walked into Kroger for a few basic things, and I walk out feeling financially unstable.
Back home, America's affordability crisis. We hear from consumers struggling with the rising cost of everyday essentials, food and gas, and so much more. Also developing tonight, overturned Alec Murdaugh's double murder conviction for the killings of his wife and son, thrown out. What happens next in a case that has captivated the nation? Rescued at sea, the new video tonight of the U.S. military saving 11 people who survived a plane crash.
Burn fire!
Plus, a 4-year-old girl rescued from a burning building in Tennessee. You will see it.
This is the CBS Evening News with Tony DeCopel, reporting tonight from Taipei, Taiwan.
And good evening. We are live from Taiwan, the first time CBS News has ever anchored from here. And right now, I'm just about 100 miles off the coast of mainland China, where leaders of the world's two great superpowers are convening tonight. On the surface, it might look like all the action is over there, where we will soon see images of President Trump and Xi Jinping as they negotiate the Iran war, tariffs, critical minerals, trade, and more. But if you zoom out from the state visit, you see one of the most important geopolitical stories of our time. And the big question tonight: will China, under Xi Jinping, try to take over Taiwan, risking war and economic catastrophe? This is what could happen here on these shores and in these streets if Xi decides to invade. He has already instructed his military to be ready to take this island by 2027. And Taiwan is, in the blunt words of Xi, the most important issue between his country and ours. In other words, while the food will be served in Beijing, the meal, in many ways, is right here. We have a team of correspondents on this story tonight with me in the region, including Weijia Zhang and Anna Korn in Beijing. And we're going to begin with Weijia, our senior White House correspondent who is traveling with the president tonight. Weijia, good evening.
Good evening, Tony. These two world leaders will see each other face to face for the first time on this trip during an elaborate welcome ceremony for President Trump in just a few hours. This two-day visit is meant to signal stability to the rest of the world, showing that competition between the U.S. and China is not escalating into confrontation. President Trump was given a red carpet welcome in Beijing, flanked by a military honor guard and 300 Chinese youth dressed in white and blue to match Air Force One's colors. The highly anticipated meeting with President Xi Jinping comes as Trump faces intense economic pressure at home caused by the lingering, costly conflict with Iran.
It's going to be a very exciting trip. A lot of good things are going to happen.
Trump regularly praises Xi and calls him a friend, but Xi sees Trump differently, according to Evan Medeiros, who served as President Obama's top advisor on China.
I think he sees him as a leader that lacks strategy, a leader that's very impetuous, somebody who's driven by instinct and impulse. The Chinese look at Donald Trump as somebody that they can manipulate, because what the Chinese want more than anything right now is stability.
Trump said he will ask Xi to open up China and brought a large entourage of American CEOs with him, including Elon Musk, Jensen Huang of NVIDIA, and Apple's Tim Cook, a group of companies worth more than $16 trillion. Their presence highlights Trump's focus for the trip: new business and trade deals. But the war in Iran will hover over this visit. And while Trump has said he does not need China's assistance,
I don't think we need any help with Iran.
Beijing is the biggest buyer of Iran's oil. And with boatloads trapped behind the U.S. blockade, it's in their interest to get the Strait of Hormuz reopened.
It provides China with an opportunity to frame itself as a source of prosperity and stability in contrast to the United States, which is starting wars and disrupting the global economies.
During Trump and Xi's last meeting back in October, the two reached a truce that halted a fierce trade war. But China wants even more tariffs relief, and they are expected to announce new plans to purchase more American beef, soybeans, and Boeing aircrafts. Tony?
Weisha, thank you very much. And back here in Taiwan, there are real concerns that mainland China may want to reunify, and this will fall under communist control. For decades, U.S. presidents have remained steadfast in their commitment to defend Taiwan from that neighboring giant China. But there's concern that President Trump could change that, with consequences felt around the world. For China's President Xi Jinping, no issue is more critical than Taiwan. Beijing has called it the core of China's core interests, with reunification by force, if necessary, the center of Xi's agenda. It's also critical for America's economy. Taiwan produces more than 90% of the world's most advanced semiconductors, crucial for AI and defense, making Taiwan ground zero for a global supply chain.
There's a tremendous amount at stake in this relationship, and I don't think it's an exaggeration.
But China has seen Taiwan as a renegade province since 1949, when the nationalists lost the Chinese Civil War to the communists and fled the mainland. Today, it's an economic powerhouse with per capita GDP among the highest in the world. And for decades, the U.S. has played a role too, declining to recognize the Communist Party's claim over the island and selling Taiwan billions of dollars in arms every year. But now a new $14 billion package has been awaiting Trump's signature for months, and many here fear Xi will use trade deals to weaken U.S. support or change the status quo.
There is definitely concern that he will trade away that arms sale in exchange for something else, whether that's for assistance on Iran or some kind of economic concession. President Trump's transactional approach is that everything's up for negotiation.
Another issue to watch, of course, is microchips. The U.S. has barred Chinese companies from the most advanced microchips from companies like NVIDIA. China wants those chips, of course, to power its own AI companies and help them compete. But they could also end up powering China's military, and that's a concern. Let's bring in CBS News foreign correspondent Anna Quarren, who has lived in this region for 20 years. Anna, thank you very much for joining us tonight. You were in Taiwan just a few weeks ago. You spoke to a deputy foreign minister about concerns regarding the Chinese mainland. What's on their mind?
Look, publicly, Tony, they said America has our back. Privately, there are deep concerns that its most dependable ally could sell it out for a grand bargain with China. And really what has prompted these fears is President Trump's recent comments that he is willing to discuss U.S. arms sales to Taiwan with President Xi. This is unprecedented. And since the late 1970s, Tony, the U.S. has sold more than $50 billion worth of arms to the Taiwanese for their national defense.
So, Anna, on the issue of Taiwan, what does President Xi want from President Donald Trump?
So Xi wants reunification. He has said this time and time again. He's claimed that it is unstoppable. And look, this has been the position since the inception of the Chinese Communist Party, but it has become an obsession under Xi. He wants the U.S. to stop selling arms, to change its posture, and to reduce its support of Taiwan, Tony.
Anna, thank you very much. We're going to have more on the summit later in the broadcast, but right now we're going to turn back to the U.S. and news on the economy. That troubling news about inflation. Wholesale prices seeing their highest annual increase in more than 3 years. Jolene Kent has these details.
Nationwide, inflation is getting worse, and shoppers are feeling it.
Life's tough, and you just got to make the best of it.
New economic data show that prices for wholesale products jumped 6% last month compared to a year ago. That's the fastest spike since December 2022. Driving the increase, gas prices surging 15.6%. In Florida, Markeisha Mack can't escape it, filling up twice a week.
I'm not asking for $1 million. I just want to be able to take care of what I need to take care of.
Do you think you're going to have to raise prices? Absolutely, but we're going to do it carefully.
In Burbank, California, Alan Arzoyan has owned Handy Market for over 50 years.
We can't be competitive. Our wholesale prices have increased so much, and people lose that extra spendable income. I guess we'll all be ordering from Amazon.
What do you think grocery prices are going to look like in the next 6 months?
Well, if they continue like they have in the last 3 months, you're looking at inflation of a minimum of 0.5% per month. It could go up another 4%, and then you're looking at rates of what we had during Biden.
When I asked Alan here at Handy Market how he'd sum up the economy in one word, he said difficult, because restocking his shelves, he's paying those higher wholesale prices while his customers are cutting back. This as inflation is going up faster than average hourly wages for workers. Tony?
Jolene, thank you very much. We're going to turn now to a big new development in the Alec Murdaugh double murder case. His trial drew national attention, of course, a prominent legal dynasty, wife and son murdered. Murdaugh's conviction tossed aside today by South Carolina's Supreme Court. Our Mark Strassman has the update.
Guilty verdict.
Alec Murdaugh's double murder drama still has it all. A new trial ahead gives new life to this Southern Gothic saga.
I would never hurt Maggie Murdaugh. I would never hurt Paul Murdaugh under any circumstances.
Murdaugh denied killing his wife and son in 2021. Prosecutors claimed he shot them to distract from embezzling millions from his law firm and vulnerable clients. South Carolina's Supreme Court unanimously vacated those murder convictions, blaming County Clerk Becky Hill for shocking jury interference, denying Murdaugh his right to a fair trial. When deliberations began, for example, Hill allegedly told the jurors, "Well, this shouldn't take us long." She later wrote a tell-all book about the case.
This is Alec Murdaugh.
Documentaries and movies about the bizarre case showcase the Murdaughs, a storied, powerful, and problematic family in South Carolina's Low Country. Alec Murdaugh's lawyers said they look forward to a new trial, which prosecutors promise is coming.
We believe we have a duty to obviously pursue justice, to all means.
Have you been surprised by the never-ending fascination with this case?
It's a fascinating case. I mean, every single time that you thought it couldn't get stranger or more interesting, it did.
Murdaugh will also remain in prison because he was also sentenced to decades behind bars for his financial crimes. Tony?
Mark, thank you very much. We're going to turn now to the hantavirus outbreak linked to that cruise ship we've been covering. 3 people in Kansas, people who came into contact with an infected passenger, are now being monitored. Our Ian Lee has more on that, plus news of a separate cruise ship outbreak of a different virus.
We have a dresser and a fridge.
Jake Rosemarin is one of the 16 Americans at the University of Nebraska Medical Center being monitored for signs of hantavirus.
I feel well, I have no symptoms, and I'm just ready to cope with the next 40 days left here in quarantine.
None of the patients are showing symptoms, but one person is in the biocontainment unit waiting for test results.
We're doing our routine screening, twice a day temperature checks and twice a day symptom checks, and everyone's asymptomatic.
Officials previously said the person tested positive for the virus, but now say those results were inconclusive. There are 8 confirmed cases of hantavirus coming from the Hondias, including a French woman currently on life support. French health officials tonight are dealing with another cruise ship crisis. A suspected norovirus outbreak aboard the British ship The Ambition has killed 1 passenger and sickened dozens. The ship, with 1,700 on board, has just been cleared to resume operations.
Rather large amount of fuss that was made about the hantavirus has probably caused them to have to show that they are taking things seriously.
I pressed doctors on when they'll feel comfortable for people to return home. They say the CDC and health officials will ultimately make that call. So for now, those passengers will remain here. Tony?
Ian, thank you very much. Up next, rescue at sea, the U.S. military operation to save plane crash survivors stranded off the coast of Florida. We're getting our first look tonight at video of a U.S. military rescue after a small plane crashed off of Florida's East Coast Tuesday. The passengers stranded at sea for hours. Here's Christian Benavides.
New video showing that dramatic rescue at sea by an elite U.S. Air Force unit off the Florida coast. Members of the 920th Rescue Wing spotted 11 survivors of a downed aircraft on life rafts in 3 to 5 foot seas. Here you see one of the survivors raising their arm. The rescue aircraft circles from above, a military chopper down below, as the airmen hoisted the survivors to safety. The unit was already airborne and training nearby when they got the call and were on site within minutes.
We did 9 hoists in about 3 to 5 foot seas. We had 5 minutes left in gas when we got the last person out of the water.
Authorities say the twin-engine turboprop experienced engine trouble during a short flight between islands in the Bahamas. The pilot was forced to land in the ocean miles away near Melbourne, Florida, successfully getting everyone onto a life raft.
They had already been in the raft for about 5 hours, and you could tell just by looking at them that they were in distress physically, mentally, and emotionally.
The survivors were transported to a Central Florida hospital with no major injuries.
I mean, for all those people to survive is pretty miraculous.
Officials are crediting that 43-year-old pilot for not just making the emergency landing, but getting everyone onto the life raft. I spoke to his wife. She tells me that he's been piloting aircraft since he was 16 and says it is because of his experience and by the grace of God that they're all alive today. Tony?
Christian, thank you very much. Coming up in a moment, a bus hijacked in Chicago. What the driver did to get away. Sentencing today for a Utah mom accused of murder. Author Corey Richins was sentenced to life in prison without parole for poisoning her husband in 2022. In a statement, Richins' children said they were afraid of her ever being released. Her attorney said they plan to file an appeal for a new trial. A Tennessee police officer is being called a hero tonight for risking his life to save a family in a fire.
Hey, come here.
Those scenes from earlier this month when Officer Elijah Rogers from the Chattanooga PD busted down the door of the home, ran into the flames, and ran out with a 4-year-old girl, clearing way for mom to get the 10-year-old to safety. Everyone got out okay. No one was injured. A bus in Chicago was hijacked overnight with passengers on board.
It sounds like this bus is going rogue right now. It's several miles off course.
A man allegedly held everyone at knife point and made the driver keep going. Somehow the riders and the driver escaped out a window. The suspect, though, who ran away, was later caught. Up next from Taiwan, sizing up the superpowers. Finally tonight from Taiwan, as President Trump and China's Xi Jinping prepare to meet, you will hear a lot about American decline and the rise of a powerful new China. The Chinese certainly believe it, but is it true? Xi's China is a marvel by many measures, is the world's second largest economy, producing almost 30% of the world's manufactured goods. They have high-speed rails that put the Acela to shame. And China has lifted millions of its citizens out of poverty, making things like the iPhones in your pocket and mine. And yet, America remains the innovation hub of the world. Made in China, yes, but designed and invented in the USA. New drugs, new discoveries, new inventions, new space missions. Xi boasts of the country's industrial might, and it's impossible to deny that fact. China's population is in decline, though, well below replacement rate. Unemployment is high, with millions in rural provinces living in poverty and massive housing complexes that now sit empty. Most importantly, and perhaps I'm stating the obvious here, none of these problems are a topic on the Chinese evening news. In fact, pessimism itself is forbidden on the Chinese internet. The freedoms we have, they simply do not. That's another day in America and the world. I'm Tony DeCopel, live from Taipei, Taiwan. Good night.